what's up guys? Welcome back to the J&A Home Buyer Channel. Today we're going to be talking about doing deal analysis for a flip. So if you are a realtor, if you are a wholesaler and you're wondering how do flippers run numbers to find a deal or not find a deal, this is going to dive into a lot of the costs that people don't often consider when they're going into buying a house. There's much more than just repairs. So we'll dive into that, kind of break that down. And if you're like me, deal analysis can just be soul draining, soul drenching, kind of dreary, bleh, right? Number crunching. So I'm going to give you 4 ways that you can do this a whole lot easier today than probably how you're doing it today. And then we're going to give you a free tool too. So we're going to give you an option here. Sign up, email, and you will get a free tool that will kind of give you the idea and structure of how these deals are done. It's not for financial advice or anything like that, but great tool to help you run some quick numbers. Awesome. Let's dive in. Okay, great. So repairs are one thing that can hold a lot of people back. If you don't know your repairs, there's a lot of books on that. I'll put a link in here in the video as well. The book I highly recommend. The numbers are wrong because inflation's really kind of gotten to everything, but I think what's important is like what to consider. For example, hey, if I'm going to repair a roof, maybe we look at what the bid's going to include. Are they laying shingles on top of shingles? Or are they going to be replacing everything? Anyways, a number of things to consider when you're evaluating estimates from one to the other. So repairs is one thing. In our free tool as well, if you're not sure, even ballpark repairs, it's going to have a little bit of a breakdown that highlights what some of the major repairs will cost. Our numbers are based on what you can see in Houston, Texas, and what we've seen here in Houston, Texas. So keep that in mind as you use that tool. All right, holding costs. So beyond repairs, I think a lot of people think like, oh, little holding costs, whatever, it's minor details, minor money, right? But between holding costs, purchase costs, and resale costs, you could be easily spending upwards of $50,000 on a flip. And that is not a small amount of money. So we're gonna dive into this. It's important you know these and you can find a way to quickly, rapidly calculate these, right? So things like property tax. Texas has really high property tax. Utilities, lawn care, insurance, flood insurance. And then you get into purchase and resale costs. When you are purchasing this, you're going to usually pay loans. And if you're using hard money, that could be like 2-3 points that you're going to pay. And then you got your interest payments, which again, if it's hard money, you could be paying 11-13% right now in hard money interest payments. So that adds up a lot of money really quick, especially if you're holding that property for 3 to 4 months or 6 months. That can add up really fast. Then you get appraisal and survey when you purchase. You're gonna have title fees, usually ×2, because you're oftentimes negotiating, okay, we'll pay the title fees when we purchase, and then the buyer may ask you to pay title fees when you sell. So factor that in twice. And then you got listing commissions when you sell. So of course you could find a realtor and say, hey, I'm gonna give you repeat business and give me a better rate on that listing commission, but factor those costs in. And then last of all is HOA fees. Houston, Texas is where I'm based. We have a lot of HOAs just because there's no zoning laws here, right? And so HOAs kind of became the new way to handle that. And with that, you're often gonna have not only your annual fee, but some sort of transfer fee, maybe a document prep fee, so on and so forth. So you could easily see upwards of $1,000, a couple $1,000 there as well. All right, great. So we got that. What are some ways that you can go through and quickly, rapidly analyze these? One, you could create yourself an Excel sheet to where you're plugging in some numbers and you say, okay, I want to make, let's just say 30K on a flip, or if you're a wholesaler, you have your buyer's criteria on what you want there, and then you add your fee on top of that, right? And you crunch your numbers in that Excel sheet and it cranks out answers. That way you can just be on the computer crunching away, bam, 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 right? You might want another way to handle this, because if you're a wholesaler or realtor, you're on the road. I know I'm on the road all the time, and you need to quickly see like, hey, does this deal make sense or not? So create a cheat sheet. You could say, for example, if I have a house and I'm buying at 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, and I have 20,000 repair, 30,000 repairs, so on and so forth, this is my offer price, and this is just an idea of my holding costs of this. That way you can quickly analyze something. You can be in conversation with the seller or in conversation with the realtor or whatever it be, and quickly understand what you're capable of purchasing. Another rule is the 70% ARV rule. And this is a commonly heard one amongst the investor community, where you take your repairs, right? You know your ARV, your after repair value, and now you're going to take 70% of the after repair value. So in other words, if a house is $100,000, I have $10,000 in repair, I'm going to take 70% off that number, the $90,000, and that ends up being my offer, right? This is not going to tell you exactly what you're going to make, but it can help you quickly analyze, is this a deal or not? Because usually, and you need to run your numbers, but usually 70% after repair is going to cover all those holding costs we talked about, and it's going to give you some decent margin in the deal as well. So that's a fast way to, on a calculator, boom, 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 get an answer, right? Now let's say you want a pretty accurate answer, right? And you want to be able to, while you're at the seller's house, give them an offer and have that number be gold, right? And so you want to have your repairs. You want to know things like taxes, things like, you know, HOA fees, all these other fees. You want to know what you're going to be able to offer them and give it right there. So this is the tool, and this is the tool we're going to give you, and it's an example, because we make a lot of assumptions in our tool. We're going to make assumptions on what you can get approved for lending. We're going to make assumptions on things like taxes, which, you know, it really can change a lot, even in Houston, from 2 to 3% and upwards. So we can create a tool with something called Zapier. Zapier is a pretty sweet tool, and I use something with Google Forms. So you, as a user, would just fill out the Google form with information and then hit submit. And Zapier takes that data, it runs it in an Excel sheet, it gives out an answer, and then it sends an email to you and it says, hey, this is an offer that you could make, as an example, right? So our email, of course, will be an example, but you could create a tool just like this for you, super easy. I mean, Zapier is cheap, 30 bucks a month, and then Google Forms is free, right? So that's the best kind of tool to make something automated and have real good cost analysis. You'll figure it out if you know how to do anything in Excel. It's pretty simple. You don't have to be a developer, you don't have to be a hacker. I'm not, and it's simple to make. So sign up for our free tool, give it a try, see what you think, and it'll give you a framework at least of how you can create your own tool to help you analyze deals, talk to sellers smoothly. Again, when you're a wholesaler and you're a realtor, you're gonna do a lot better spending time talking to sellers and not doing number crunching analysis and all sorts of other stuff in front of them to get them the offer that they need to get your deal done. We are J&A Home Buyers. We're based in Houston, Texas, or actually we're in Katy, Texas, but we buy houses all around the greater Houston area. If you are a realtor, if you are a wholesaler in our area, please do connect with us. If you sign up for our emails or get that free tool there, we'll keep you in touch when we have REI meetups, when we're talking with other groups and so on and so forth, and we'll be sending you content like this to help you get your deal done on a weekly basis. Sign up, follow up for that email, follow us on social media, and keep in touch.